We're now going to look at calculations which involve dividing or multiplying, and we're going to work out what they give us, and we're going to give our answer in standard form. The bad news is you're not allowed to use a calculator. So 5 divided by 8,000. Well, we're dividing by 8,000, so we're going to break up the 8,000. So that's equivalent to dividing 5 by 8 first. And then after you divide by 8, you can then divide by 1,000. So the first calculation we're going to do here is 5 divided by 8. So we put a little title, 5 divided by 8. And then we're going to actually do 5 divided by 8. So we're going to set up our little division. So we put our 5 inside and our 8 goes outside. Put a decimal point after the 5 because 8 doesn't go into 5 exactly. So we'll put a decimal point down and put a few zeros after the 5. So let's start dividing. 8 goes into 5 0 times and then copy down our decimal point. We still have a remainder of 5. So we carry the 5 over to the next 0. So 8 goes into 50 6 times. 6 8s are 48. We've got a remainder of 2. Carry it over to the next 0. 8 goes into 20 twice. 8 2s are 16. And we've got a remainder of 4. So we're going to carry that remainder of 4 over to another 0. And that's going to make 40. 8 goes into 40 5 times. So at the minute, we've got 0.625. So far we've just divided the 5 by the 8. Now we've got an answer, but we have to divide that answer by 1,000. So the next calculation we're going to do is 0.625 divided by 1,000. So this is much easier to do. When you divide by 1,000, we're just moving the decimal point, and because there's 3 zeros in 1,000, we're moving the decimal point 3 places to the left because we're making the number smaller when we divide. So copy down your 0.625. So dividing by 1,000 means we're moving the decimal point 3 places to the left. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. So it's going to finish there. If there's any gaps, fill the gaps in with zeros. So 1, 2, and then 3. So our answer at the minute is 0.0000625. Now, that is the answer when you divide 5 by 8,000. However, we want to give our answer in standard form. So, put another little title, standard form. So remember, to turn any number into standard form, you have to insert a decimal point to make it a number between 1 and 10. So the only place we can insert a decimal point here in our answer is between the 6 and the 2. So that's where the inserted decimal point goes. So the number between 1 and 10 is 6.25. And then we're going to multiply that by 10 to a particular power. Now, to get the power of 10, remember, you have to move from the inserted decimal point to the original one. So the original one is here. So we're going to have to move 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the left. So the power of 10 is going to be -4. Negative means we have to move left, and the 4 meaning we move 4 places. So we'll move 4 places to get from inserted decimal point to the original one. And that's our final answer. So we've worked out 5 divided by 8,000, and we've given the answer in standard form. Okay, that was part A. Let's look at part B. So part B, we want to do 3 divided by 30,000. So part B. Okay, so same idea as before. We're dividing by 30,000. So that's the same as dividing by 3 first, and then dividing by 10,000, because 30,000 is the same as 3 multiplied by 10,000. So if you're dividing by 30,000, that's the same as dividing by 3 and then dividing by 10,000. So we're going to do the easy bit first. We're going to divide 3 by 3. So put our little title down. 3 divided by 3 is really straightforward. That's just going to give us 1. Don't even need to set out the division there because it's easy to do in our head. Now we're going to divide 1 by the remaining amount. So we're going to divide by 10,000. So the next calculation is 1 divided by 10,000. Now, when you're dividing by 10,000, there's 4 zeros in 10,000, so that means you're going to move the decimal point 4 places to the left. So we're going to copy our 1 down. At the minute, the decimal point is after the 1. So we're going to move this decimal point 4 places left. So here goes. So there's 1 place, 2 place, 3 place, and 4 place. So we're going to finish there. Every gap that there is, every hump that there is, fill it in with a 0. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then we'll put a 0 in the units column. So our answer at the minute is 0.0001. Now, if it didn't ask us to put our answer in standard form, this would be the answer. But we have to now put it in standard form. So we'll put a title now, standard form. Now, in order to make this number into a number in standard form, we have to insert a decimal point to make it a number between 1 and 10. And the only place we can insert the decimal point would be after the 1 here. So that's our inserted decimal point. So the number between 1 and 10 is just going to be 1. And then we multiply that by 10 to a particular power. Now, to get the power of 10, we move from the inserted decimal point to the original one. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the left. So that means the power of 10 is going to be -4, because we have to move left and we're moving 4 places. And that's our answer. Okay, for part B. Okay, let's look at part C. So part C, we have 6 divided by 50,000. So again, we're dividing by 50,000. That's the same as dividing by 5 first, and then dividing by 10,000. So the first calculation we're going to do is 6 divided by 5. So we're going to set up our division. So we're starting with 6 and we're dividing by 5, so 5 goes outside. 5 doesn't go into 6 exactly, so I'm going to put a decimal point down and I'm going to put a 0 down after it. to allow us to carry over any remainder. So 5 goes into 6 once. Line up our decimal point. We have a remainder of 1, so we carry it over to make 10. And 5 goes into 10 twice. So we're left with 1.2. So the next calculation we're going to do is we're going to take our answer at the minute, 1.2, and then we have to divide by the remaining amount, which is 10,000. So we now have 1.2 divided by 10,000. Okay, so when you're dividing by 10,000, there's 4 zeros in 10,000, so dividing means you're making this 1.2 smaller, so we're going to move the decimal point 4 places to the left. So, copy down your 1.2. We're now going to move decimal point 4 places left, so there's 1 place, 2 place, 3 place, 4 place, so we're going to finish there. Fill in all the humps or gaps with zeros, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the number, the answer that we have at the minute is 0.00012. Now that is the answer to 6 divided by 50,000, but it's not in standard form, so that's what we're going to do now. So we'll put another little title down, standard form. So in order to make this number into a number in standard form, we've got to turn it into a number between 1 and 10. The only way to do that is to insert a decimal point between the 1 and the 2. So the number between 1 and 10 is just 1.2. And then we've got to multiply that by 10 to a particular power. So to get the power of 10, we're going to move from the inserted decimal point to where the original one is here. So we're going to have to move 1, 2, 3, 4 places, and we're moving 4 places to the left. So the power of 10 is going to be -4. Okay, so that's our answer then for part C. Okay, let's look at our last one, part D. Okay, so part D, we have 12,400 and we're multiplying that by 200,000. Note this time we're multiplying, we're not dividing. So the strategy this time is we're going to break up each number. We're going to write each number as a product of non-zero digits and 0 digits. So for example, if you take the first number, 12,400, we can write that as 124 multiplied by 100. So we're writing it as a product of non-zero digits and 0 digits. Okay, 100 here. 2 zeros represent 100. And then we're going to do the same with the other number. We're going to write it as a product of non-zero digits. So 2 multiplied by the 0 digits. So the 0 digits, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So that's the same as multiplying by 100,000. Because there's 5 digits here in 100,000. So what we're going to do then is we're going to multiply the non-zero digits together, so the 124 and the 2, and then we're going to multiply by 100 and then by 100,000. So we're now basically reordering. So we're going to do 124 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 100 and then multiplied by 100,000. So if we do that 124 multiplied by 2 is just 248. If we multiply 248 by 100, we just stick 2 zeros on the end. And then if we multiply by 100,000, we're just sticking on another 5 zeros on the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've actually got our answer to 12,400 multiplied by 200,000, but it's not in standard form. So let's now put it in standard form. So in order to do that, we have to make the number that we have here a number between 1 and 10, and the only way to do that is to insert the decimal point between the 2 and the 4. So that's our inserted. So the number between 1 and 10 is just 2.48. And then we're multiplying that by 10 to a particular power. To get the power of 10, we have to move from the inserted decimal point to where the original one is. So the original one would be after this last 0. So let's count how many places we have to move. So we have to move 1 place, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have to move 9 places to the right. So that means the power of 10 has to be positive 9. It's positive this time because we have to move to the right to get from the inserted decimal point to the original. And we have to move 9 places, so the value of the power is 9. And that's our answer. So that's what 12,400 multiplied by 200,000 is in standard form. So we have to do the calculations first and then get our answer, and then at the end put our answer in standard form.